My name is John Hansen, and my wife Karen and I live in Kaukauna. And when we bought our house during that year, we attended St. Aloysius Catholic Church on the south side of Kaukauna. That has since um, ceased to exist, but we have moved over to St. Catherine Drexel as a parish and the St. Mary's sites, and also in Hollandtown, St. Francis, where I sing in the choir. And it has been a pleasure growing as a Christian ever since. My day assignment is day 31, and that's virtues, which for me was a good choice. I was able to select my own day, and in the process, I have grown during that reading. What I mean by that is two things that stood out for me during that reading. One is obedience, and the other is humility. When I started reading about St. Francis and how the Holy Spirit was asking him to rebuild the church, as I read those words on day 31, I realized, oh, God is not asking St. Francis to rebuild the church physically and mechanically, of which St. Francis started to do, but it's building the church spiritually. And for me, it's a lifelong challenge to be humble and to swallow my pride, which are the two biggest things I think that are an impedance to a faithful journey toward everlasting life. So all those things said, the seven gifts of the Holy Spirit really stood out for me as well. I think that was a discernment of the Holy Spirit during the reading of day 31. Because when I think about the seven gifts of the Holy Spirit, where wisdom, knowledge, and eventually counsel, but then inserted in there is an understanding also as a gift. Those are one of the four key things that really are important to me as a Catholic. And then followed by fear, piety, and then finally the fortitude to be able to bring this all together. So I don't do that on my own, and that's where my pride has gotten in the way all of my life. Humility in St. Francis' life was to actually, I think, swallow his pride and say, oh Lord, you didn't mean for me to build more churches physically. You mean to go to the people and teach them that pathway by giving them spiritual gifts. And it is through the guidance and the discernment and the grace, which is the key word I've really come to understand in the last 5 years of my life, the grace that's given by God for us to bring that all together. So it's obedience to the will of God and not my own that has made me a stronger Catholic. And in reading day 31, it is also that obedience plus swallowing my pride to be able to become more humble. And I don't do that alone. In fact, my wife is one of my human pillars, also devout in the way that she keeps me accountable. And it's, I think, through the Holy Spirit working in her that allows that day-to-day journey for all of us, myself though most important, because I face God one day in the final judgment. And I want to be able to hear the words, well done, good and faithful servant. So the life continues until then. Every day is a rebuilding of my spiritual humility.